Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Eugen. In this one I have for you a preview of the 9th Panzer Division, a new division available in the upcoming Tribute to Normandy 44 DLC. As a disclaimer, Eugen has given me free access to the DLC, so a big thanks to them. Also, please remember that this was recorded on a preview build, so what you see may be subject to change. If you'd like to read the description on the right hand side, feel free to pause the video and take a look, but I'm going to be jumping straight on in. As usual, we'll be having a look at all of the units available and then putting together a quick deck. So let's start in the Recon tab. The Recon tab is one of the big things about the 9th Panzer, one thing that can make it potentially very strong. But let's start here with the BMW R75, the vehicle that you could probably make 0 points and people still wouldn't take it, because generally speaking it's kind of a waste of a card when there's a lot more valuable stuff in the Recon tab. But 6 available in A, 12 available in C. Then we have the Scharfschütze, Sniper Boy on his own, 10 points, 4 available in A, 8 in B and 12 in C. Snipers did take a nerf in this patch, so do bear that in mind. In this division, you're probably not going to take the sniper anyway, but in other divisions where you would take snipers, I still think they're going to be used. It's just they're not going to be as effective as they were before. Then we have one of the new units that's come into Steel Division 2 from Steel Division Normandy 44. This is the Aufklärer Panzer 1. 6 available in A, 12 in B and 18 in C. It's a dual machine gun tank, but the machine gun, the EW-141, does have AP shells, so it can deal with vehicles. Now I'm not entirely sure how effective it is against like enemy half-tracks and such, but it's only 25 penetration, so yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to be used for. It also depends like really how much damage this does to enemy infantry, but it looks like it has similar damage to a standard machine gun. So yeah, these things were pretty scary in Steel Division Normandy 44. They could chip your infantry really hard and they were very difficult to deal with. In Steel Division 2, I'm not so sure. There'll be a lot of stuff that can kill these. But 40mm of frontal armor, certainly enough to deal with anti-tank rifles. Then we got Aufklärer, 2 cards of Aufklärer. 4, 8 and 12 availability. Unfortunately no crazy transports, so they can be brought in. Just the standard Kubel MG or the Recon half-track would be your preferences. And then Battlegroup also available. Again, only Recon half-track as an extra vehicle you'd probably want to bring in. So 3, 6 and 9 available for them. 258, nice 75mm HE fire support. 5, 4 and 3. 3 if you upvet them, gets you 16 round per minute rate of fire. Sometimes a good choice. Really depends on total availability numbers. And then we have the Aufklärer Panzer 2 Lux. So the Lux already in the game, but this division gets 2 cards of them in Phase A at 5 and 10 availability in A and B. Definitely potential for running people down with 20 mils early on. Then there's the 2343. Again, 12 round per minute rate of fire on a 75mm gun. Availability on these is kind of trash though, unfortunately. Then you have the 2341, which is available 6 in A and 12 in B, so even more 20mm up your sleeve. And then there's the Aufklärer Panzer 4 available as well. You get pretty cheap recon tabs, so you can certainly make a lot of use out of these. Let's move on to the infantry tab. In this tab we got Ersatztruppen in Phase A, 18 available, 15 points apiece. Then there's the Kosaken Pioneer. These are available 5 in A and 10 in B like standard Pioneers. HE grenade with 3 PPSHs. It's not a terrible setup for 15 points. Then we have the Grenadiers, the 15W Grenadiers, which are the Chonkers. They have 9 strength, MP40, Car 98, MG34. For 20 points, questionable value, but certainly get a decent number of them in availability. Then we got the Grenadiers with Panzerfaust. Same setup of guns, but with a Panzerfaust. And yeah, 8 available in A, 16 available in B. Sometimes favourable to upvet these to 1 vet because you don't really lose as much in availability. Then we have the Pioneer Führer. One of my preferences and leader choices because it has a HE grenade. just is good for trading out. It like usually if these get found, they're going to die, but at least they can like throw a HE and do damage to the enemy before they die. Panzergrenführer, Panzerfaust, definitely not a choice that I generally go for, because it's very rare that you're going to use these for the Panzerfaust. But 3, 6, and 9 availability on those. Actually, let's just have a quick look at the transports. These guys don't get any interesting transports, the Pioneerführer, but the Panzergrenführer with Panzerfaust, they do get access to the 250-10 and the 251-9. And I've mentioned before that this particular half-track is nice because it has the 75mm gun, which will get extra veterancy on due to the Panzergrenführer itself being up there, but it also has an MG42 on it, which fires the same direction as the main gun. So it can really put down some good fire support onto units that don't have AT. Well, AT that hit it in range at least. So you can smack stuff from a mile away with these. Pretty good. Pretty good. Sturm Pioneers, 2 cards of these available. 5 and 8, 10 and B. Panzergrenführer. These SDKFZ 251-10s and 251-9s again. That's actually kind of a nice potential for Phase B. And then we got the Panzergrens with G43s. Would you look at that? It's an interesting setup for these guys. For 30 points still, it's the same cost as your standard Panzergrens, but you get G43s instead of Kar 98s. So it's going to be a strong squad. The DPS might not, or the damage might not seem much higher, but the nice thing about the G43 is a semi-auto rifle. So the DPS at units, so say you've got these in heavy cover and your opponent's in like light cover or no cover, you're going to be seeing these do significantly more damage than the Panzergrens without the G43s, I think. That kind of remains to be seen, but in my head that's how it works out. Then with these guys, you've got the Kar 98s, but in this case it's the Panzerfaust version. Again, you might want to take free vet for these. So A, B, and C, 8, 16, 24. Alright, tank tab. Get the looks with the interesting camo. Good old looks leader. Then we got Panzer IVs, 6, 12, 18 available on the Panzer IV-G. Panzer IV-H is 5, 10, 15 available. And then Panzer IV leaders 2 and 4 at 1 vet. And then Tigers only available in B at 2 vet. Support tab, for Gendarmerie. Same as always, just a unit kind of there for flavour. Flamethrower. Potential that you could use it in 1v1, they use quite a lot, but in team games generally not so much. Then we got the Flampanzer, available in A and B. If you're wondering why these aren't generally used in team games, it's because their card efficiency is not as good. And generally because games last longer, you want to get more value out of your cards. Whereas in a 1v1, you can kind of get away with having cards where it's like 6 squads at 15 points apiece. MG34, 6, 12, 18 available. Then MG42s, 5, 10, 15 available throughout the phases. Got 2 cards of Opel Blitz munition trucks. Got the Grille, available in A and B. And then for leaders, or commanders, sorry, it's going to be the motorcycle, the half-track, and the Panzer IV-H. For anti-tank, we have the Panzerschreck, only 1 card of Panzerschreck, so you're going to have to be careful where you pick these to be brought in, or when you pick them to be brought in. Panzerjäger is available in Phase A, so interesting to have those, especially when you upvet them. They go up to 20 round per minute rate of fire, which is nasty. And then you've got Marder 3s with the F-22 gun on it, which is the Russian gun. These have 8 round per minute rate of fire, which isn't too bad for 130 mils of penetration, but the accuracy is only 40%. So another interesting unit, and it has a pretty cool camo on it, for sure. Then there's the Marder 3, again only available in Phase A. There's the Pak 40s, available in A, B, and C. And that's 3, 5, and 8 availability as usual. Stug 3 F8s available in A. The F8 variant gets more AP shells, less HE shells, and it's pretty cheap. So Yeah, not too bad. And then the Panzer, which is always a beast, available in A, B, and C. This thing has 130mm of frontal armor. It's incredibly difficult to kill sometimes, especially by medium armor, and you can certainly take advantage of it. Then in the anti-air tab, we get access to 20mm AA. They don't have any 20mm transport, so you're probably not going to be using them. Other than that, we got Mobbelwagens available in A and B, availability 2 and 4. Then we got Flakvillings, one card of Flakvillings, available in A and B, and then a card of, or two cards of Flak 37 88s. So plenty of 88s if you want to bring them, but might want to bear in mind that, actually I'm going to assume that it's saying there's no Mortiers here is unintentional and probably needs fixing. Artillery tab, Beobachter. These guys, I don't know if you might want to bring them so you can spam more recon vehicles, but potentially a choice in the artillery tab in this case. Battleführer are available, 2, 4, and 6 available. We've got 81mm mortars, 3 cards of them, 4, 8, and 12 available. Radio on 76mm artillery. So this is a ZIS-3 in the artillery tab. Can still be used, I assume, for anti-tank purposes. Still got 45% accurate, 105mm penetration. But because it's in the artillery tab, it will take more suppression from tanks, so do bear that in mind if you are going to be using it as a direct fire unit. Then we have the LEFH 18M105, probably one of the worst 105s in the game. Then we got the SK18 105, which is probably one of the best in the game. This is only one card available though. There's one card available of the 81mm mortars in the 257, and there's one card available of the 81mm mortars in the 251-2. Then there's the 150mm. These have all standard availabilities, by the way, which is why I'm not really pointing them out. But yeah, the SFH 150, 124 can be brought in with the multi-munition trucks. Hummels, actually 2 cards of Hummels available, 1, 2, and 3 availability. Like having double Hummel like this in Phase C can be quite nice because you can fire like a single shot from every Hummel at a one location all at once, and then move your Hummels straight after, and you can basically never get hit by counter-barrel. And then we have the Panzer III Observer, which comes in with 172mm off map. So yeah, 2 sets, or you'll have 2 shots of each, depending on which you bring them in. So it doesn't matter on which phase, but each Panzer II or Panzer III will be able to call in 2 barrages because it's over 150mm. For anyone who doesn't know, the way that you determine how many strikes you get with artillery, if it's above 150mm in caliber, which I think it's above 155, then you get 2 strikes, and if it's under, then you get 3 strikes. So this is like a threshold there. It's around 155, because I think 154mm off map often gets 3 strikes. Anyway, air tab, Ju-87 D3s available in Phase A, B, and C. You actually get quite a lot of availability in these of Phase A. They would be okay for taking out support weapons, but this is still a pretty light payload. I'm not sure if it would. Focke-Wulf 190 recon planes, 2, 4, and 8 available of those. The Bf-109 G2 available in A and B. These you almost always want to bring it to vet because their firepower is not enough otherwise to get the kill onto bombers. You need the extra veterancy so they are more accurate and get more shots on target, and that way they do kill things that they tail. Otherwise they end up like overshooting because of their speed. There is a card of Ju-87D3s available for 3, 4, and 6 availability, and then we got the Focke-Wulf 190s, which is 3, 6, and 9 availability with the 210mm rockets. And finally, there's a card of the Focke-Wulf 190 A8s, which do have medium resilience as well, 3, 6, and 9 availability. So these are the chunky versions of the Focke-Wulf, which do have medium resilience. I think the F versions also have it, and I think it's the G versions that are slightly worse on resilience. But yeah, these are the A versions, A8s. So there you go. And that is your lot for the 9th Panzer. Let's go ahead and chuck together a quick deck. So in phase A, I'm not sure if I want to like go all in with the Lukes. I think what we'll do, we'll bring in the 2, 3, 4 1s in phase A, and then we'll do a card of Lukes in phase A and B. I would like to upvet them, but I'm not sure I can. We'll bring in the 258s as well. And then I think I'm going to come back to the Recon tab. For the early game, having Ersatztruppen probably going to be important. I think for the Kasakan Pioneer, having them early on is good. And then you'll just use like normal Pioneers in phase B. Make sure you change up your transports from the KFZ to the Opel Blitz. The KFZ is okay because it's kind of like, well, it's actually overall worse. I was going to say it's better off-road, but it's actually not. So yeah, the Opel Blitz is always the better choice. But yeah, generally you want to bring the Opel Blitz anyway, even if it were the case that the KFZ was faster off-road but slower on-road. The on-road speed generally matters more for transports. We're definitely going to make use of the Panzergrenzer G43s. I'm actually going to bring these in upvetted in A and upvetted in B, and then we'll do this card in C. Then again, not having access to Panzerfausts is risky, but then we bring in the Panzerschrecks in phase A. I would probably want to bring in a later in phase A, we'll do the Pioneer Führer. And then in phase B, we'll do Panzergrenführer with SDK Z259s. Moving on to the tank tab, definitely bring the Tigers. And I'm tempted to bring in the Lukes in phase A. The Lukes leaders. That way we can actually have them come in with our recon units. And then it's a matter of spreading out some Panzer IVs across the phases. That should be fine. The reason I'm putting them at 2 vet is because Panzer IVs, they get up to 10 round per minute rate of fire at 2 vet. And it makes the machine gun better as well. So they are actually really good at killing infantry. For the support tab, I'm trying to think what we need here. In phase A, I don't think the Grenadier is necessary, so I might actually just bring it in phase B. Then again, having the Grenadier in phase A is always nice for dealing with like AT guns that don't have 2,000 meter range. So maybe that's probably the better place to have it. Could always do MGs in phase B, but I've got to be wary that there's only 5 cards here, and we've got to bring the supply, and we want to bring in a commander. We'll probably bring in the half-track commander in this case because the motorcycle's a little bit too weak and potentially, I'm very vulnerable to artillery. Let's go into the anti-tank tab. So I'm thinking a card of Jagdpanzers in A is actually a good idea here, and then maybe one in C. I do like the Panzerjägers. I do want to put this in as well because it's new. But I think I would usually take Panzerjägers over the Marder 3, F-22, if I'm honest. And then I probably want to bring in a couple of AT guns. I think in the early game I can probably get away with bringing it in vet, without vet. Or with vet, sorry. Yeah, that's quite a sizable AT tab, honestly. I might change it, we'll see. We're going to do mobile wagons, I think, in phase A. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to do mobile wagons in A. And then flak fillings in B. And 88s in C. Then for artillery, I do want to get that double Hummel going late game. I think that'd be pretty fun. Early game artillery, off-map artillery, with potentially just mortar carriers. Then air tab. So there's two things that we can do here. We can either go for like early game Ju-87s, or we can go for like late game Ju-87s. We can have 6 of them in the late game to kind of like overwhelm heavy targets later on, or you can have like 3 early game. I think it makes sense to have 3 early game. And then Focke-Wulf fighters. The other thing would be the Focke-Wulf 190s. I would kind of like to get them in there. We also still need to fit in supply, so let's now look at what we want to change. The infantry tab might just be too expensive here. So maybe the plan is to take out the Pioneer Führer in phase A. We add in supply. Let's not forget to do that. I guess that's one problem with using the Hummels as well, is that because they can't like tow in their own supply, it makes them less appealing overall. They also don't have much ammo, so supply is going to be even more important because of that. But at least that allows me to bring in the Focke-Wulf 190s with the rockets. I think we'll shift these to B. And I think I'll leave it there for this one. Maybe not enough supply in it, but definitely not enough recon infantry. Yeah, this is actually a very difficult deck to build. I've definitely put way too much in the AT tab. Maybe the base C card of Jagdpanzers is overkill here. And we put in some recon infantry. I was going to do that in the artillery tab. I don't know. I think in this case, as much as it would be fun to bring in the double Hummel, a phase C card of 105s is absolutely fine. I mean, even better than that would be a phase B card of 105s with Maltiers. And then you just go phase A Opel Blitz with cheaper mortars. And then you can afford both an extra card of recon and something else. Let's bring them in with recon jeeps in phase A. Let's see. What are we missing here? Maybe like late game pioneers. That would be a nice addition. Perfect. That looks a lot better than it was before. Alright, well, there you go. I mean, it's not 100% optimized, but I think that definitely looks better than it did. And yeah, I'll give it a go. I mean, usually I wouldn't be taking these at Marder 3 F22s. I'm only taking them because I knew. And these you could easily replace with another card of Jagdpanzer like I had before. I think that would be more optimal. But otherwise, a solid division. I think overall, you know, it's a standard Panzer division, but this abundance of recon vehicles is certainly going to give it a nasty punch in the early game. You've got to look out for that. But that's it for now. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this look at the 9th Panzer. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.